What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're recapping the Jacksonville Jaguars getting it done on the road against my New York Giants 20-15. And if you had any sense in your mind, you kind of knew that this was going to happen. You kind of knew that the Jaguars were going to win, and I actually predicted it almost to, nail on the head. I almost hit it right on the head. I was gonna predict 20-17, but then my gut feeling said 24-21 Jaguars. But it kind of went exactly how I thought it would. The Giants are gonna start off pretty slow on offense, which they did. I felt like we were gonna pick it up towards the end. Get Saquon in the mix, get Odell in the mix. I expected Evan Ingram to participate more, but that didn't happen, or Sterling Shepard. But it is what it is. And the Jaguars get it done 20-15. Now, I said the only key factor in this game was Blake Bortles. How will he play? And to be honest, he did not play very well. And, we could have won this game had Eli Manning not just panicked and threw that ball straight into Miles Jack's hands. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I want to start off with the beginning of the game. Blake Bortles, they get the ball first, and Blake Bortles drives down the field with a nice pass to Keelan Cole on Janoris Jenkins. Janoris Jenkins played very well today. Didn't start off that way, obviously, with that Keelan Cole catch. Kind of got beat off right off the line. He had the makeup speed, but he just didn't get there in time, and it was a completion there. Great catch by Keelan Cole. Can't take anything away from Keelan Cole there. That was a great catch over the shoulder, right above his head. That's one of the harder over-the-shoulder catches to catch, is the ones right above your head where you really can't see anything. So, great job there. And then a few drives later, we go to the Giants drive. Eventually the Jaguars punt it. And then the Giants get their drive, and, it's just right off the bat, it's just like, wow, well, this is the old school Giants offense that we've been seeing for the past couple years now. Eli Manning, of course, he gets completions, but we can't really move the ball down the field because of the offensive line. And the offensive line didn't actually play too terribly today. I know Will Hernandez got bull rushed by Calais Campbell, but it's Calais Campbell. I mean, what do you expect? So I'm really not going to take it out on Will Hernandez that much, because in the run game, Will Hernandez freaking open holes. But when it comes to Calais Campbell on that pass block, I mean, you really can't blame Will Hernandez there on that sack that Calais Campbell had. But we move on to the first drive for the Giants. It's just slow. It's always slow right off the jump. It was Eric Flowers on two straight. I think it was two straight holding penalties. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know one was holding. I can't remember what the other one was. Probably was holding as well. And he is so lucky that it happened on like the half-yard line, that it was not a safety. And then we move on to a handoff by Saquon Barkley, and he starts off pretty slow, and he almost gets a safety, but like I said, he moves on to like the half-yard line and just barely avoids the safety. And I do want to talk about, before I move on, I do want to talk about Saquon Barkley a little bit, and I want to pretty much calm everybody down on, man, Saquon Barkley is going to be the best running back ever. Trust me, I wanted Saquon Barkley in the draft. I was extremely excited. I'll put the reaction. If you guys want to watch my reaction, I was extremely excited. That's who I wanted in the draft. But I'm not seeing all the hype. I'm not seeing all the hype. Sure, he had 100 yards on the day. That was made up by a 68-yard touchdown by Saquon Barkley, just like in the preseason, where he had like what do you have, 5 carries or 4 carries for like 41 yards or something like that. Most of those yards came from a 38-yard run in that preseason game. I hope Saquon Barkley is not the type of guy that is going to make up all his yards by one run and completely just doesn't do anything when it comes to the rest of the game. I don't want him to be that type of running back, because he is not going to be successful in this league. In that other game, in the preseason game, he totaled like 3 carries for like 5 yards, but besides that 1 carry for 38 yards. In this game, at one point, he had 8 rushes for a total of 12 yards. That is not a good look for Saquon Barkley. And I know this is the Jaguars defense. I know that they do well against the run, because that front 7 is stacked with some great players. I get that, and I props to him for getting that 68-yard touchdown. That was a very good touchdown. You were breaking tackles from players like Calais Campbell, Telvin Smith, and Jalen Ramsey, and among other players as well. I believe he juked out DJ Hayden as well. I mean, these are some. DJ Hayden's not good, but all these other players I mentioned are very good. So props to Saquon Barkley for doing that. But I need to see more consistent runs. But I need to see, you know, the 8-yard gains, the 10-yard gains when we need them. You know, I want to see us be able to chew clock down like a good running team does. I want to be able to, like Carolina. Carolina's a good example. Back when they had Jonathan Stewart, Mike Tolbert, Cam Newton in his prime, they were able to move down the field and chew clock up and get that defense tired, and that helped them open up the passing game when they needed to pass. We need to do that for Eli Manning. Saquon needs to be that player. He needs to play that role for this offense, and as of right now, I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing Saquon Barkley as a home run hitter, a one-time home run hitter, and then he'll completely, you know, he'll do some stuff. Like he had a 10-yard gain or a 10-yard gain earlier in that game before his touchdown, and that was pretty much it. But, you know, I know we're asking a lot from him because his offensive line isn't there yet, but, I mean, you have to live up to the hype a little bit at least. So, anyway, moving on to the game, Janoris Jenkins had himself a nice, beautiful Tony toe tap interception for you. That was on, I believe, Dante Moncrief. He was guarding Dante Moncrief, and Blake Bortles just came in right on cue. You know, I'm like wondering when Blake Bortles is gonna kick in to his old self, and he did just that and threw himself an interception to Janoris Jenkins. Oh, Janoris Jenkins almost had two. The other one was in the red zone. I believe it was on the Jaguars' next possession after we scored a field goal on that interception that it led to points there. And Janoris Jenkins almost got himself another interception. I really don't know how he didn't catch that. I mean, his form was perfect. I know the ball came a little unexpectedly. You know, he looked up and the ball was just there, but the ball hit his hands perfectly. I think he just, I mean, it was raining that day, so, you know, I'm pretty sure he grasped onto the ball and just couldn't secure it. It is what it is, but great coverage there by Janoris Jenkins. He's probably going to have himself another Pro Bowl year. He already has one interception. Let's see what he does later on this year. I'm looking for something. By the way, I also want to give a quick shout out to Eli Apple. Eli Apple did play himself a very good game, had a couple pass defense, saved himself a touchdown a couple times. I think Eli Apple had himself a good outing as the number 2 corner for the New York Giants this year for the 2018 season. I think he did very well in his debut for this season. Then moving on, you know, we want to talk about the Eli Manning interception. To tell you the honest truth, it doesn't matter if that ball was tipped or not. That ball was getting intercepted either way. I mean, Eli Manning threw to, I think he was looking for Sterling Shepard. He was not open. If he was throwing to Odell Beckham on that slant, he was not open. So I don't know what he wanted to do there, but either way, the corners were on top of, well, no, they were actually below the wide receiver, so you were able to see the defenders over the wide receiver, so they were going to count it. Either way, that ball was getting intercepted, so you know, you could have saved yourself a touchdown there if you actually would have intercepted it to like Telvin Smith or something like that, but Myles Jack was able to undercut that and catch the tipped pass and run it for a touchdown. And Myles Jack, I just want to point out, Myles Jack played himself a fantastic game. His first game as a starting middle linebacker. You know, you guys know Paul Posluszny did retire. Myles Jack moved in from that weak side linebacker role to the middle linebacker role, and boy, did he do a phenomenal job there. He's definitely the defensive player of the day for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just an anchor there at middle linebacker, so great job to Myles Jack. And then I want to move on to the last play of the game. Let's just skip everything else. Let's move on to the last few plays of the game. Kalen Clay, who I hyped up when we got him because I was like, Hunter Sharp, yeah, he's all right. He had a fluke punt return. You know, he really didn't do much other than that. And I was like, okay, we have Kalen Clay. He's a proven returner in this league. And his first freaking opportunity to do something great, he just needed to have a fair catch, matter of fact. He did not do that. It reminds me of the Cole Beasley play that when we played against the Cowboys a couple years ago in 2016 season. Towards the end of the season when we won 10-7. Oh, no, it wasn't 10-7. No, that was 2015 season when we won when Matt Castle was playing. and Cole Beasley had a chance to move down the field and help the Cowboys get a last drive in to win the game, and he screwed it up by muffing the punt. That's exactly what we did here. Kalen Clay just muffs the punt, and you know, the Jaguars take over, and there goes our comeback. Any chance of us coming back? I know there was 50 seconds, and I think we had all 3 timeouts. I know chances are very slim now that, you know, Eli really hasn't pulled off a comeback win in a long time. So, of course, the chances were slim, but there were still chances. Now there was no chance whatsoever for the Giants to come back and win this game. And really, I mean, if Eli wouldn't have thrown that ball, if he would have took the sack and lived for another down, we could have won this game. And I'm not going to say we would have won this game, but we could have won this game. And, you know, it is what it is. The Giants, you know, start off with 1 loss in the season. They start off 0-1. The Jaguars are 1-0. Congratulations to the Jaguars. They played themselves a scrappy, messy game. You know, I did expect that, but if the Jaguars really want to be that Super Bowl team that they're trying to contend to be, and I really think they have the opportunity to do that, they need to play better. The Giants aren't the best team you're going to play this year. You have a couple of good teams in your division. So, like the Houston Texans, that's going to be competing for that division spot in the AFC South. So, you need to play better football. Blake Bortles needs to play better football. The defense played well. I think the Giants really exceeded expectations on the defense, but that's nothing taken away from the Jacksonville defense. They did play well. Let's move on to the stats. Blake Bortles, 18 of 33, 176, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Did not play his best game, but did not play his worst game. So Eli Manning, 23 of 37 after starting off the half, 11 of 12, so he did not have a good second half. 23 of 37, 224 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. TJ Yeldon for the running game. TJ Yeldon, 14 carries, 51 yards, 3.6 yards per carry. Blake Bortles, 4 for 32, and then Leonard Fournette, 9 for 41 before getting injured with a hamstring injury. He wasn't getting the big yardage you would think Leonard Fournette would get, but he did get the needed yardage. I mean, he still averaged 4.6 yards a carry, but I think there were more opportunities for him to go farther. But guys stepped up like Landon Collins and Janoris Jenkins to on the edge to prevent him from doing so. So a great job there. Corey Grant, who I think is an underrated running back, only got 1 carry for 3 yards. Saquon Barkley, 18 carries, 106 yards, 5.9 yards a carry. Great job there, and 1 touchdown. Jonathan Stewart, 2 for 8, and nobody else is worth mentioning here. For the Jacksonville receiving game, we got Keelan Cole, 3 for 54, 31 yards is his longest reception on 4 targets. D.D. Westbrook, 5 of 6, 51 yards. Austin Seferian Jenkins, 3 of 5, 25 yards, and T.J. Yeldon, 3 of 7 for 18 yards. Odell Beckham had himself a good outing, and he was tearing up the Jacksonville defense. When they were in zone, it was just, I mean, he was able to find the weak spot in that zone. The linebackers played well against the run, but against the pass, they did not play very well. Telvin Smith and Miles Jack were too up close, I guess, waiting for a run or waiting for a small throw, and Odell Beckham was able to go right over on these easy crossing routes, easy drags and things like that, and slants. He was able to get a lot of looks there, and he had 11 receptions on 15 targets, 111 yards. Unfortunately, he did not get himself a touchdown, but very, very good day for Odell Beckham in his first game back after a season-ending injury. Sterling Shepard, 5 of 7 for 48 yards. Saquon Barkley, 2 of 6. Oh, that's a lot of misses there on the receiving game for Saquon Barkley for 22 yards. Evan Ingram really didn't have the day I expected him to. Only 2 receptions for 18 yards. We then move on to the Jacksonville defense, and how about Miles Jack? 10 tackles, 7 of them solo, 1 pass defense, 1 interception, and 1 touchdown. Great day for Miles Jack. Telvin Smith also had himself a great day. 7 tackles, 5 of them solo. Want to talk about Barry Church a little bit. Did a great job against the run. Great job playing in the box for Barry Church. Most of his tackles did come on Odell Beckham after Odell Beckham caught the ball, so his stats are a little bit padded. You know, he really didn't do well against Odell Beckham, but against the run, Barry Church, I will give him credit there. Jalen Ramsey, 5 tackles, 4 of them solo, 1 tackle for loss. And then we look at the sacks for the Jacksonville defense. You have Calais Campbell with 1 sack. That was Will Hernandez was guarding on there, and Leontre McCray. We then move on to the Giants defense, who actually did not play their worst game, but you know, they, again, a lot of improvements need to be made, especially in the middle of the field. The linebackers are still struggling. Janoris Jenkins, 7 tackles, 5 of them solo, 2 pass defense, and 1 interception. Alec Ogletree, 7 tackles, 3 of them solo, and a half tackle for loss, and 1 pass defense. Curtis Riley actually had himself a great day in his debut at free safety for the New York Giants. I actually like Curtis Riley. That was a very good game for Curtis Riley. Ray Armstrong, 6 tackles, actually doing a very good job at a nickel linebacker, very underrated. Landon Collins didn't have himself his, best day, but, he still put in work. Then we look at the sacks. Kerry Wynn had himself a half sack along with Kareem Martin. The initial hit came from, I believe, B.J. Hill, and B.J. Hill couldn't finish it off, and Kerry Wynn and Kareem Martin were able to get there first. So there's that. As far as everybody else, Lorenzo Carter had himself his first start of his career with Olivier Vernon out for this game with, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he has a leg injury. Can't remember what he has, but yeah, Lorenzo Carter got his first start and really did nothing with it. So we'll see what happens there. Connor Barwin as well really did absolutely nothing. Yeah, everybody else, good job. Anyway, Aldrick Rosas surprisingly did not miss a kick. That's good to know, especially with the fact that Aldrick Rosas does not kick well in the rain. No kicker really does well in the rain. So congrats to him for kicking long of 44 and 3 whole field goals. Great job by Aldrick Rosas there. He did not attempt an extra point because the Giants decided to try to go for 2, I believe, and did not convert. So with all that being said, looking on to next week, I don't know who the Jacksonville Jaguars play. I will look that up right now. Okay, the Jacksonville Jaguars go on to play the New England Patriots at New England. So we'll see what happens there. That should be a good game. Blake Bortles is definitely not going to have his best day. But I'm excited to see how that defense is going to do against New England's offense, who did pull off the win with their AFC South rival 27-20 against the Houston Texans. And the Giants, for the Giants, they face off against the Dallas Cowboys. I believe they're at Dallas. Dallas really, I watched that Dallas game. Dallas just looked terrible on offense. Decent on defense, I will admit. I mean, Carolina does not have the best offense you can imagine. Now, when they're using Christian McCaffrey as their power back, which I guess, I don't know. Carolina needs to work on their offense, especially with that wide receiving core and that running game, which used to be good, but is not anymore. But the Cowboys just didn't have an answer on offense, couldn't get anything going on offense. Ezekiel Elliott, scored 1 touchdown there on an option throw, and that was pretty much it. And then Dak Prescott got intercepted, or he fumbled the ball towards the end of the game, and Carolina was able to take knees and victory formation and win the game there. So I think the Giants can actually win that game against the Dallas Cowboys. We'll have to see. I'll make a preview video soon. I did not make the Jaguars preview video. I'm sorry, guys, for last week. I just didn't have time. But this, I promise you will get a preview video this week for the New York Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys. That's all I got for you guys today. If you like this video, make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. If you are already subscribed, make sure you hit that notification button so you never miss a video. With all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.